Welcome to the Moonshot Podcast, the podcast where we explore business growth, inspire innovative marketing strategies, and explore the world of company culture. Now here are your hosts, serial entrepreneurs and best-selling authors, James Philip Arbuckle and Kane Carpenter.
Going back and thinking about chapter 3, it reminded me of that Drake song, No New Friends. Do you remember that song?
No.
All right. I didn't think you would, but I look at a lot of the business owners, executives, CEOs I know, and the people that surrounds them they're typically not newer people. It's those that have been around for many years, and that's their quote unquote inner circle. And in the back of my head, I'm like, no new friends, because new friends, you can't trust them. It's a mafia movie. You vouch for the wrong guy, and he brings the whole thing down, right? And I was starting to analyze, well, man, the CFO, the CEO, everyone around this person has been around 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years. And occasionally you're going to have someone new, a CFO is going to leave and there's going to be a new CFO, right? And I just found it funny that you rarely see, someone that's been around a while. They're typically not surrounded with new people. They develop this thing of the insiders, the people that are trusted, and facilitated this environment that these are the people I'm going to lean on and trust because I know how they work. I've seen the decisions they made. I don't know if you noticed that or not.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, the people around me that I trust from a day-to-day work environment have been around a long time. I absolutely agree with that.
It's I'm not getting the advice from the person I bumped into at the steakhouse.
Yeah.
But I was thinking, I was on that plane and that joke in the beginning of the book. Excuse me. And I don't know if I was reading something on my phone or I was watching the TV on the back of the headrest, and I sent that text out about the what did I say? Inflation's not going down.
Yeah.
And because the pilots just got a raise, and then he had that great line of, "I like my pilots well compensated." And I was thinking, I told that line to somebody else, and he goes, "I also like my pilots well competent." I was like, I can run with that one too, I think.
Well competent, yeah, true.
But you start thinking of, you can't, fly a plane without the pilot, and these people that I think I also want my maintenance crew well compensated and competent, right? It's these very important people that this thing does not exist. That plane does not leave without these very key people. And on that whole flight, I was thinking about that. And, there's always the high turnover people in any company. And I'm not marginalizing them. They do play an important part, but you could lose a salesperson and it might slow sales down for a minute, but you're going to get another salesperson, right? If you lose the people doing payroll and there's no one doing payroll, you have a problem. So as the things get higher up, you start thinking about those who are really, your CFO, the people that are responsible for strategy, operations. You start looking at these very key people that you want to kind of keep them close and try to hang on to them for as long as you can. Which, it's been hard since COVID's happened, right? Although, Kane, do you feel that you've seen executives jump as much as everybody else in the last 2-3 years?
No, of course not.
Man, if you really think about that, something like the executives I know, no one's really bounced around. Maybe one person, but he was with the other company for quite some time.
Well, executives are too busy steering their ships, right? If you've really bought in the way you probably would have to reach an executive level or be in the inner circle, you're busy navigating the world right now, navigating your company through the world. Too busy to think about jumping ship.
They're probably also less likely to be on LinkedIn or TikTok and consuming all these videos that are, job hop, get a raise, job hop, they're not on there. They wouldn't listen to those people. And they also know that for when you get to that level, how much tenure matters too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just, again, it's, career advice. Look at the people that are very successful and stop listening to the people that you would never trade positions with in life. And, okay, so, you want to build this team around you I think it's really important, Kane, to understand when you really get to know people, which means you have to spend time talking to them, go to lunch, dinner, happy hour, breakout conversations, Saturday morning conversations. You have to really get to know someone and how they think, how they rationalize things, what kind of makes them tick. And these are the people you want to surround yourself with, because you know that I'm going to ask somebody this, and you roughly know what's going to come out of them, right? And it's not that you want an echo chamber, it's that you need to know how they process and synthesize information and why they're making this decision. The worst thing you can do is, take advice from someone and you don't really understand why. But if you don't ever spend the time to get to know someone and spend years working with them to really understand how they tick, how do you ever really fully understand how they think enough to trust the advice they're going to give you?
Right.
Man, that really got me thinking about the executives not hopping as much. We're going to come back to that in another episode. But okay, it's so in some cases, I always say, like, those people you can never overpay. Granted, you got to keep a budget in line, but there's the inner circle, this core group that you just have to take care of within reason. And you have to get them to stick around and really make them feel part of the team. It's almost like, they're not a board, but they're like your little inner board, right? Could you imagine? We talked about on the sports team, right? If you're a CEO and your entire executive team is turning over 18 months, what do you think that's going to look like in 5 years?
Yeah. It looks like a completely different thing.
You figure in 5 years, the entire executive team's turned over twice, which means no one even knows what the hell decisions were made and why 3 years ago.
Right.
Kane, it'd be very difficult. And, we talk about sports teams. Like, if you're how do you ever get a team to really jive if no one's been around long enough to understand how each other person plays? And
yeah,
man, I like my pilots well compensated. Like, take care of your inner circle. Gotta do it, man. What was the other one we talked about? Identifying the people you can't live without. I mean, we kind of talked about that. That's the pilot. That's the maintenance people. That's, these are the people that if they don't show up, the business doesn't work, right? And again, it's not about devaluing everybody else. We seem like you've seen a lot of companies make mistakes in the last 3 years, this whole post-COVID thing where they just kind of dropped the ball on identifying the people that matter. I mean, everybody matters, but there's, let's just say, mission critical people. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
And maybe that's also why turnover's so high. I don't know.
Well, I had this interesting conversation over the weekend with someone who's a little bit older than me, and we were just reflecting on changes in attitudes. Don't want to sound like one of those dinosaurs. It's like, young people this, young people that. But I think the key to this chapter is that line about really looking after the people that are mission critical, right? And what I think has happened in society is call it whatever catalyst you want, whether it's everybody's in search of quick dopamine hits with social media or whatever. We've talked about this in the past, James, but it's this idea that call it younger people will look at the success that people in their 50s, 60s, 70s have and say, well, why can't I have that now? Right. And to me, that's been the biggest shift. And it kind of goes back to your tenure thing. It goes to the idea that executives haven't really moved around. And what I like about this chapter and that the idea of looking after mission critical people is that it's not that there's a certain group of people that just walk into every company and become mission critical. That opportunity exists for every single person that goes into any company. And it's just on the individual to take the responsibility to say, okay, I want to buy in. I want to do good work every day that pushes the agenda forward, moves the needle a little bit, such that when a big decision is required, or somebody needs something and requires a level of trust, that I can be that person. And I think that's what we're trying to get at with this chapter. It's not that inner circles exists and we're going to exclude people. It's that it is our responsibilities as workers, as individuals, to say, I will make it to that inner circle and I'm going to do that. These are the things XYZ that I'm going to do to make sure that I'm trusted when big decisions are required. So it's just an interesting, I just feel like society has shifted away from that idea a little bit. We see the ramifications of that.
I mean, if you walk into a 500-person company right now, what do you think are the percentage of people that are really in tune, care about the company, their co-workers, and they're trying to really make things happen? Like, make a percentage of,
I mean, generously 80-20.
or 80% doesn't care.
Yeah.
So when you think about that, and we saw that shift with our clients over the years too. They're all struggling with that. You have people that are looking to do everything but work. They don't even want to work, let alone support the company, the manager, the brand, the leadership. And there's been a huge uptick in this, let's just talk crap about everybody at the company, go online, post bad things about, you saw some of these big companies that people on Twitter are talking about, you work there, why are you crapping all over it, right? So it really is an uphill battle right now. And is that, inner circle, whether it's, there's two inner circles, I guess. To me, it's all the mission critical people. And then from the executive standpoint, which I was kind of trying to get at earlier, I can't find a good way to word it, but when you're that CEO, when you're that president, when you're that SVP, and then you have your group, there's these people you have to lean on, that you have to understand how they think, and then that you can trust, and you have to keep those people around. You have to keep them engaged. And two different things, but you need all of it, right? If I'm a SVP of supply chain and I have, directors of procurement and warehousing, transportation, materials, these are my generals, right? I need them to stay close and make good decisions, have a lot of communication. This is my inner circle in that case, right? As then the president would have its own. But then there's all these other mission critical people, right? If they don't show up to work, this plane's not leaving. And I'm not sure there's a lot of that thinking going on right now. Especially, how much did work from home kind of screw that up too?
Oh, massive. Massive.
It's really hard to get to know somebody over a Zoom. And you realize how much those ad hoc conversations in the office allowed you to really get to know somebody. And, every HBR article talks about developing emotional intelligence. It's, how do you do that if you're never in the same room with somebody, Kane? I'm sure you've been in the office before, and someone that you've gotten to know, you saw them walking down the hallway and they didn't look right. They didn't seem happy. And that's partly emotional intelligence, right? You're kind of picking up on something, the way someone talks, the way they're walking, the way they look. Maybe you can ask, like, hey, is everything okay? How do you do that through a Zoom, man?
Yeah, I've yet to figure that out.
Yeah, you're just not, and you think about developing these relationships and making people really feel a part of something, and you realize sending out some, messages and emails and a Zoom, it's just not the same. And yeah, I don't know how you really solve for that. I think every company on the planet is trying to solve for that right now, but
yeah, I don't know if it was the masterclass or his book, but bring up Bob Iger here just as an anecdote. And I remember reading or listening um, to this idea that the way that he led Disney when he would, call it first time round, I don't know, not the second time, but was that he had his, call it a handful, maybe dozen people that he would talk to, right? Those are the people that, other C-suite individuals that he would talk to. And he would make all these decisions based on the inputs of these 12 people or however many. And I bring that up to say that it's naive to think that inner circles don't exist. And one thing that struck me about that too was that it was a full-time job for him, essentially touching base with these 12 people enough times throughout a year such that he could make good decisions. Right. And so take that down to whatever level you operate at your organization. It's so hard already just to keep track, to your point, of is Danny feeling all right today? Because he's my, second in charge, or third in charge. Is Sally feeling all right today? And just making sure that everybody in your circle is in a good spot such that you can make great decisions. So there's a practicality to this too in terms of management. The smaller your circle or the more trusted your circle, the better decisions you can probably make. But that requires a level of trust that you place on that circle. And it's a full-time job just to maintain that circle.
I want to say maybe it was Lee Iacocca, I don't know. I feel like I saw this quote attributed to many different people. I don't know who actually said it, but it's, I hire smart people and I get out of their way. And, in a way, it's like, are you surrounding yourself with the right people? And I think when I was writing this chapter, I was very focused on C-suite mentality, presidents, like I said. But you're right, it does. You could be a department manager that's got 20 people, and you could have your inner circle that might be 3, 4, or 5 people that like the workday ends at 5, but half your staff probably mentally checks out at 4, right? You have these people that are engaged, they're striving for excellence, they're thinking about things after work, they're not looking to like completely unplug, they're really trying to make things happen. And maybe there's the other 15 people in your department hell, 10 will show up, do their job, and go home. The other 5 might start late. They're trying to do the minimum. They're probably causing some problems. And like somewhere in there, you hope out of the 20, 3 or 5 might be your inner circle, the ones that you can count on. The people that you never have to ask twice, right? You just not only ask twice, Kane, it's that it's going to get done, and you don't even have to worry about it or check it. So I think the inner circle can apply to many different levels of departments. So, whether it's up in the C-suite, in middle management, all the way down to a department manager. It's not a new concept, right? There's always the people. You've always had people you can lean on, right?
Oh yeah. Do you think this? I mean, how would you apply this concept to like a personal life, James? Like, is it wise to have an inner circle, or like call it a board of director of friends that you lean on to make decisions?
Yeah, so I don't really seek outside counsel in that sense. I mean, there's people that I like to bounce things off of, right? It's trying to hash out a new thought or a new feeling, and you run it by someone, and then they give you a different perspective, and then you synthesize that, and you come out with, there's that type of stuff. Me personally, I keep a very, very small circle in general, and that's it. It's over time, it's just really hard to keep people around you that are growing at the pace you are, that are sometimes you just see life differently, right? So I know people that there's like these very large groups of friends, and 10, 15 dudes might go out for dinner and drinks, and I just wonder how many of them are friends and how many are acquaintances, is how I kind of look at it. And there's 2 or 3 people in my life that I feel if I'm about to make a major decision, maybe I'll bounce it off of them. I got that, that Warren Buffett saying where he says, I have 12 of my top guys here, right? And if I did a poll and they said, should we make this investment? And he's like, 9 would say yes, and then 3 would say no. And he's just in general over time that those 12 people are never going to make the same amount of right decisions as he would alone. And that's how I feel sometimes. It's sometimes you just got to go at it alone. And I don't know if you had that same luxury in the business world, though.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So, I don't know, you got anything else to add to this one?
No, it was a shorter chapter, but I enjoyed writing this one. I remember clearly writing this one because it just felt important. It felt important as an idea.
It's not a new idea. It's the things that I've just experienced over 2 decades of business and observing other executives. Again, I came from a very executive heavy focus here. Just some of the most successful people I've witnessed had these like tried, tested, true people around them that it wasn't just trust. It's just they knew how they operate. They were in line with the thinking, and they took care of them though, right? They had to make sure the comp was right. The respect. So many things. When you say take care of someone, it's more than just money. And otherwise, how do you get them to stick around?
Yeah, yeah. And what I meant by important is I was thinking of the contrast between an inner circle and like a clique, because I know clickiness is often something that's got a negative connotation. And so what I really wanted to hone in on is the idea that it's the responsibility of the individual to break into the inner circle by doing the right things, as opposed to just, this is a clique of people that like each other.
No, but you'll even witness that in personal life, and there's a handful of you going out to dinner, and then you ask someone, they say no, and then you ask them a couple months later, and they say no again, and then it's like, well, now it seems like this is this group or this clique, and it's like, look, man, I invited you 3 times, you keep saying no, and it's in a weird way. You look at, I can think of friends at these, Fortune 500, Fortune 1000 companies that go through this, and you have to put the effort in. And you'll say, like, there's these, think about how many cliques are at these companies that are like 50,000 people, Kane. But it's not like really cliques, it's people that want to be a part of something. And it's like, look, again, if you're always running for the door at 4:59, and then this group of people are going out for happy hour, and then you never want to go hang out with them, is it a clique, or are you choosing to not participate?
Yeah, that's a fair point. Fair point. Yeah.
Because this is the conversations I get in when I'm trying to coach somebody, and they're like, I don't want to go to the stupid happy hour. And it's like, so what do you want to do? Yeah, I just want to go to work and I want to do this. And it's like, but at the same time, you're saying you're jealous of these people. Like, yeah, like it's really an effort thing. And like, I think the world switched a little bit where we want to put in little or no effort, but we want all the benefits of these people who, like, if I'm 25 years old, I'm in New York, I work for a Fortune 5, and one of the VPs is taking people out to happy hour. Like, I'm going to happy hour. I want to go see what these people are talking about. I want to try to get some insights off the VP, and I want to be part of the conversation, right? But I think the world's changed a little bit. I don't know if you probably agree with that.
Oh yeah, for sure. There's so much value in proximity. Just show your face.
Show your face, and why not go soak up some game? And you'll never get invited into anyone's circle. You can call it a clique, you can call it whatever. Like, you're never going to get invited if you're not trying to participate. And then on top of it, if you never come into the office and you're just sitting at home on a Zoom, how quickly are you forgotten?
Yeah, that's really valid.
Very quickly. So, anyways, we'll wrap this one up, and next week we'll do chapter 4.
All right, sounds good.
All right, I'll catch you.